So I want to talk about getting out of a trade and getting back in and the logic behind it. Because sometimes when you're just telling yourself you can always get back in, the that doesn't actually help you in the trade, right? Like there's still this feeling of, but if I hold it, I won't have to get back in. And I'm going to show you what just happened to me on Tesla. This was my entry. So the 2 hour, right? So I said I was watching the 2 hour. Someone mentioned Elon was tweeting and yada yada, right? So I mentioned I was hawking this 2 hour, right? So this is my trigger. And it comes down, right? It does this. And if I put the crosshairs on, you can see on the 30, it was also an inside 30 triggering down, which triggers this inside 2 hour. Okay. So that happened. I get in the trade because, Tesla short is not the worst thing. And we can discuss why I'm willing to short Tesla. We went to ADR, etc., etc. I talked to Jihi today in the chat about the day in the week being green, which is still true. But we did trigger the week down, and it did go up right to its target, which would be ADR on the day. And so now we're forming a shooter on the day. So what I want to see is these depths down here, off of this reversal, off this 2 hour reversal, right? So I have an actionable signal and a reason to get in, just to clarify that. So let me put this up with the 2 hour, the 1 hour, and the 30. What happens is this 30 comes back through, right? So if you hold for too long, right, your exit really, quite frankly, because you're trading against continuity, right, your exit should be either where you entered. So these are your exit options, right? Option 1. Because that's your entry candle. Option 2. Well, that's probably option 3. Let me do this. There's quite a few options. So there, the open of that candle. And then you have when this 30 triggers, right? It triggers up. So now you have a 1, 2, 2 up. That's like a clear moment to exit. If you continue to hold, instead of saying, I can always get back in, you say, I'm going to hold it because I still think Tesla is a short. Meanwhile, note that you're very far above your entry point, right? And actually, this is my entry off that inside 30. It was a domino, inside 30 to the inside 2 hour down, right? So if you continue to tell yourself it will be fine, or you keep pushing your stop up higher and higher and higher, then what you're actually creating is, what's the word I want to use? You're creating less confidence in your next trade, okay? Because you're taking more of a loss than you have to, right? If you keep your losses small, and, I get the question a lot, like, when do you move to the 5 for an exit? If you enter on the 30, do you exit on the 30? Yeah, but also, like, let's use our brains, because right here, this is a 1, 2, 2 reversal. If you have an actionable signal on the 30, the moment that this 1, 2, 2 triggers, you got to get the hell out of there. Regardless if I entered on the 2 hour or the 3 hour or whatever, this is giving me, and I'm not up, right? I'm taking a loss. It would be different if I had already, I have gains, and this is just like some sort of TTO situation. But this is, I have no gains, right? Like, I'm taking a loss here. This is telling me that it's reversing, right? This is literally called a reversal. 1, 2, 2 reversal. Okay. So that's also a side point. But if you're taking your loss up here, right? Or even up here, or even further, what you're doing is creating doubt in your ability to continue to trade, right? Because ultimately, if I take my proper exit, which is arguable which one is proper, the one that I likely would have taken, depending on, no, not depending, it doesn't matter what the P&L said. This is like my final stop. So if you're taking anything above this, you're actually creating a lack of confidence, okay? So, because what happened now is this becomes your next entry, right? You can always get back in the trade, right? If this is your entry, but you're feeling like, I took a loss, you're unsure, you start to have those like concerns in your mind, you don't take that trade, right? Quite frankly, you could even take this 3-2 down. You don't take that trade, so now you're waiting and you take, I don't know, something even further down when it re-triggers the 2 hour, let's say. So you've missed out on about $1 of downside because there's been so much back and forth in your emotions of just taking a big loss, really, because if you exit here, you're entering practically at the same spot. So your loss would be minimized as opposed to exiting even further away and then having to sort of gear yourself back up to get into the trade, right? And it's actually quite perfect because this 30, right, would still give you the re-triggering of the 2 hour. Okay, so I just want to make a video on that. I did that today, but part of it was because I wasn't paying attention. But I didn't do it. I didn't do it today. I did it last week. I can't remember the ticker, but the reason why I did it was because I wasn't paying attention. And sometimes when you take a big loss on a ticker, it starts to just shake you a little bit more than you need to be shaken. You can always get back in the trade, right? And reminding yourself of that and actually putting that into action is going to continue to give you confidence in your ability to get back in the trade, right? You're not going to wait too long to enter and lose out on gains. All right, that's it. Oh, and I'm swinging Tesla. Look at this. Obviously I have a stop in, but look at what is happening. Ideally, the next 40 minutes, we flip the day red, and then I have like the most ideal entry to add to tomorrow. I'd have a failed 2-up shooter, and the week looks like this, right? So let me pull up the day here. This would be my ideal situation. We flip the day red. This is my entry for an add tomorrow, because I'm going to swing based off these last 40 minutes. We'll see how we go. And that entry, what I want to do is flip the week red. So let me put this at weekly open. Okay, what I want to do is flip the week red. And ultimately, I want to be getting down here really to these pivots. So boom, boom, right? So I guess my final target would be whatever this is, 273.21. Okay. And then if I zoom out even more, I can make this larger. Yeah, I'm still inside month. And so my final target really triggers the month. So likely we'll trigger the month and then probably have a little bit of a TTO. So this is what I want to happen. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll just track that all month and we'll see how we go. But tomorrow, or I guess within the week, I want to see these lows. So 273.21.